tried to accumulate as much good debt as I could possibly accumulate. And when I had $4.5 million in debt, came with $7 million in assets that looked really good, but that $4.5 million in debt was controlling me. Would keep me up at night. I was always trying to figure out how to make more money so I could make it go away. Every time there was a problem with the portfolio, it was a tremendous weight for me. It affected my health, it affected my generosity, it affected my marriage. It affected so much in my life that I was sitting there wondering, what's good about this? And then my Bible study, when I was really digging in deep, one day the Lord just showed me in Proverbs 22, it says, the rich shall rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. Now, I had read that many times, and I didn't think much of it. And this one day I read it, and I kept on going, and then I felt the Lord just said, go back. And I went and I read it again. The rich shall rule over the poor, and a borrower is a servant to the lender. And I kept reading, and it was like, go back. And so I went back and I read it again. And then I knew that the Lord was speaking something to me, and that I was a servant to the lender. Couple that with a passage in Matthew that no servant can serve two masters. You can't serve both God and money. I felt a real conviction that, what was going on in my heart, prior to having all that debt and doing things the good way, the right way, I was free to serve the Lord. I wasn't occupied with all of this worry and how do I make money and how do I get these debts paid off. I was very generous, but once I owed the lender that money, I felt like I couldn't be as generous anymore, because if I was generous or gave $10,000 to something, how would I be able to make my payments to the lender? So, the lender was controlling me. The lender, I was serving the lender. The lender was getting my mind, and that was probably even creeping into my heart. And I wanted God to have that. And so I just felt a real conviction that, certainly in my case, mortgages were not good debt. They were debt. Regardless of what it was on, it was a debt that I had promised away my future. I had promised my servitude to someone other than God, and it was controlling me. And so I made a decision to just become debt-free, to not borrow anymore.